Well, hello and welcome to an extremely windy Japfest 2024. Yet we have defied some adverse weather conditions to bring you once again Europe's biggest and best Japanese car show. And there's everything here from Toyotas to Nissans to Subarus, Datsuns and Daihatsus. If you're into Oriental cars, there is something for your taste at this show. So let's have a quick look round and see what we can find. But first, our friends at Lancaster Insurance are running monthly giveaways. You can win all sorts, from experience days to tools, restaurant vouchers and tech. So check the video description for full details and to enter. Proof that the best things come in small packages is this, a Suzuki Cappuccino. Now this is built to Japanese K-car regulations, very strict on the length, the width, the weight and the engine size. 660cc, 3-cylinder turbocharged engine that revs to 9,000 RPM and produces 67 horsepower. Doesn't sound like a lot, but in a car this small and this light, it is a bundle of fun. Fantastic little chassis, aluminium suspension, and to find one in yellow that's pretty much rot-free like this one here is an incredibly rare sight. I love these things and they are going up in value for a very, very good reason. Love them. The ex-Top Gear trio of Clarkson, Hammond and May are pretty infamous for destroying a lot of cars which we now consider classics. But when they moved on to the Grand Tour at Amazon, a few of those cars survived, including this one, a Subaru Impreza WRX B Limited, a very limited edition car built to celebrate Subaru's rally championships and only for the Japanese market. This one was driven by Richard Hammond in the Scandi Flick episode where they were on ice, you might remember it. And after the show, Richard Hammond bought it, stripped the livery of it and then fully restored it. It's been resprayed, it's had some rust sorted, it's now got a fully built forged turbocharged engine in there with over 530 horsepower. But apart from a few stripes and a little bit of Martin Racing striping, this still looks like a standard Impreza, so it's actually something of a sleeper as well. I love it, really nicely done, and Hammond genuinely uses this a lot of days and drives it hard. Big fan. It might be hard to believe given how modern it still looks, but the RX-8 is now over 20 years old. The rotary reprobate that brought the triangle engine type back to the 21st century after the RX-7 was killed off is now a bit of a modern classic. I love these things, I think they look fantastic, bit of a 2+2 layout, and technically they're actually a 4-door car. They've got suicide rear doors as well, and they drive fantastically with a brilliant chassis, not to mention that 9,000 RPM revving rotary engine. The RX-8s are out in force here at Japfest 24. We've got early ones like this one, we've got late R3s like this one, there's modified ones, there's engine swap ones, but for me, the best form of RX-8 is whatever you want it to be, because the rotary engine, there's a lot more to it than just that. They're a brilliant car, and these days they're a bit of a bargain, but if you do want one with a rotary engine, get it tested. They are not cheap to repair. If the Lexus LS400 is the Japanese Mercedes, this is the Japanese Rolls Royce. Welcome to the Toyota Century, a V12 powered, the only Japanese V12 ultra limousine. Quite apart from the fact you've got doilies on the seats, that alone says class, this is the epitome of luxury in any sort of Japanese car. Impeccable Toyota quality, about the best ride comfort of any car in the world. This particular car should be slammed to the deck on air ride, but at the moment it's lifted up so you can see it in all its glory with those chrome wheels. These are magnificent, and I challenge you to ride in one of these and not prefer it to a contemporary Rolls Royce. Absolutely epic in its own way. Forget your Supras, this is a Japanese legend. Outside the HKS garage here are two legends from Japan. First up, an early Toyota Celica. Built to be Japan's rival to the Mustang, it looks absolutely stunning with the bullet mirrors, that muscle car-esque front end, and this one's got an oil cooler poking out the front, as well as various tasteful modifications. A 2-litre 3S GE engine from a Mark II MR2, Cusco modern suspension so it handles as well as it looks, these lovely wheels, and the seats out of a Honda S2000. Lovely bit of Restomod work. Over on this side, a replica of an even bigger legend. It's a copy of a Subaru Subaru Impreza 22B, the wide-arch 2.2 litre homologation legend that is now worth about £250,000 when you find a good one. This has been built off of a two-door Subaru Impreza Type R and features a forged 2.5 litre EJ25 engine with around 450 horsepower on board. Other than that, it's a pretty much one-to-one copy of a 22B, and while it isn't the real thing, with all the power and suspension and brake upgrades that this one's got, arguably it's even better, and for a lot less than £250,000. Earlier on we talked about the RX-8, which was kind of the end of mainstream rotary car production. Well, this is one of the most popular rotaries ever sold. One of the ancestors of the RX-8, the SA generation Mazda RX-7, here on the Auto Finesse area here at Japfest. And this one is fantastic. Proper retro-inspired Japanese livery with a Fiat logo on the back, bizarrely. Lovely 3-spoke Advan wheels on it, I'm a big fan of those. Nice subtle drop with it, but inside totally standard and beautifully kept. This is a lovely, lovely example. And in the boot there, they've got a few examples of magazines for the SA RX-7 that were sold in England and in Japan. These are incredibly rare and fantastic. Japanese rivals to the 944 and the Mitsubishi Starion, and I love them. Shout out if you own this car. This stood out to me in a big way, a charming little Datsun 1600. Why did it stand out? Because it's here. These things rock for fun. The number of these left has got to be single digits in Britain, but I wager that given the East African Safari sticker, the Kenya sticker, and the almost total lack of rust, but obviously original patinated paint on this thing, I would wager it heralds from Africa, much like our Mark III Cortina, and that's why it's in such good condition. It's got some lovely Midnight Star wheels on it, and otherwise it's pretty much original down to the little trilby hat in there. Looks tremendous, and I absolutely love it. So again, if you brought this to the show, thank you. It's made my day. It's my civic duty to show this car to you. Sorry. This is a Mark II Honda Civic, and it's significant for two reasons, quite apart from the lovely wheels and stance that are on it. First of all, it's got the Honda-matic transmission in it. You guessed it, Honda's very own automatic transmission, which for a car this small in the early 80s was hugely significant, a very rare option, so that's cool to see. Second of all, in saloon guise, this car would evolve and ultimately become the Triumph Acclaim. The car that proved that British Leyland could produce a car that was well made and reliable owes itself ultimately to the Mark II Civic. This car evolved into a saloon version, the Ballade, which then became the Triumph Acclaim and of course the 200 Rover SD3. So yes, it's a Honda, but it's also a bit of a Triumph. Sometimes Honda hides some fantastic technical innovations in fairly ordinary cars. This is a third generation Prelude. A two-door coupe, looks pretty stylish, I like the pop-up headlights and so on, and this one's on some very nice Japan racing wheels. But under the skin, this car is extremely clever. It's got four-wheel steering. Turn enough lock to lock, and the back wheels turn the opposite way to the front to give it a tighter turning circle. Fantastic technology in a car that isn't that fast and isn't that powerful, just to show how clever Honda are and what their engineers are capable of. The only thing I wasn't sure about when I saw this car was what engine it's got, but as it turns out, B20, yeah? So that was Japfest Silverstone 2024, and if you thought this show was just modified Skylines and drift cars, as we've shown, you are very much mistaken. There are some fantastic retro and classic Japanese gems here, many of which you just don't see anymore. So be sure to let us know in the comments which car we featured was your favourite, and hopefully we'll see you in next year's show. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you again next time. This video is proudly sponsored by Lancaster Insurance. Give them a call on 01480 400 889 for an insurance quote on your classic car. And don't forget to click the link below to enter their latest competition.